I imagine some of the bows might just be playing around in the winds up at the start at the moment. And the Coxes, they won't be putting their hands down until they're absolutely certain. It's all about gamesmanship at this point. Just keeping your hand up right until the last second. Both Coxes' hands are down.
Go!
Great start there, really good umpiring to make sure we're giving both these crews the fairest start possible, and blistering start as we're here on the Thursday Prince Philip Challenge Trophy Junior Women's Eights.
That's a cracking shot there of the crew from Aberdeen Schools Rowing Association. It's a unique club they've got up there, Aberdeen Schools. It's athletes from a load of different schools around Aberdeen all coming together to build this unbelievable club that they go out and dominate races across Scotland, and they do the same when they come down and race in National Schools Regatta events like that. But they're up against it in the early stages here against Surbiton High School.
Shot down the crew there, stroke by Isadora Kennedy in the stroke seat with the glasses on top of her head. Experienced crew Fergus they come up against here. This Surbiton crew, as I said before, have that experience, have that knowledge of how to race this one-on-one race, and they'll be confident going into this race against the Aberdeen crew, but tight at the end of the island.
Yeah, it certainly is. This crew, silver medalists in Championship 8 at National Schools Regatta, and there's several in this crew as well. Raced back in 2021 when they reached the final of the Prince Philip Challenge Trophy in its inaugural. They lost out to Headington, but they're back once again this year, looking to launch their campaign to take them all the way back to the Sunday and perhaps go one better than 2 years ago.
A great close-up of Aberdeen there. We see the down their course, very relaxed their shoulders. I'm going to talk about that a lot. I love seeing these crews that don't look like they're going up and down. They're really horizontal. You see right up there in the bow seat, Edward Brooks leading her crew down that course. But Surbiton seems to have got the slip a length at the end of the island.
Yeah, Surbiton have done well, and I think as we were talking earlier, Surbiton going out hard. Perhaps we'll see some quick times to the barrier from this Surbiton crew, and perhaps even records in this stage with tailwinds and offset. But that blade work there we can see on screen is just perfection from Surbiton. We can see that they're working hard. It looks just a little bit tighter in the shoulders. You talked about the looseness that Aberdeen had earlier on. Surbiton clearly working just that little bit harder at the moment, just trying to break clear of Aberdeen Schools in the early stages of this race.
So Hanaway now to look back at these crews racing down the course. They've gone through the first couple of minutes. It hurts here. If none of you watching, rowing, not rowers are watching, this is painful. They've just sprinted for the first minute and a half, almost 2 minutes, and you're coming onto this mid-race pace here. And in these bigger boats, the eights, the more people you have in your crew, the faster the boat goes. And I tell you what, that is a sprint. That is hurting now. They need to figure out how you transition onto your pace and how you make that rhythm work for you and your crew, and anything can happen through the middle section of this race now.
Yeah, this Aberdeen crew well drilled by Holly Reid, their coach. They've come down, travelled probably just about as far as you can in the United Kingdom to come and race at Henley Royal Regatta. They're down here, they're up against it in the early stages of this race, but this crew of 8 rowers from the north of Scotland are packed full of talent. We've got representation for Scotland at the home international regatta. We've got representation at the GB France match as well, so they're used to racing hard, being in fights, and they're certainly in one at the moment, and they've got it all to do in the second half of this if they're going to haul themselves back into contention.
And it's about representation, isn't it? I think it's really important that we have crews from around the country and around the world here, and this is a really good representation of Scottish rowing, and they're on the rise. They've won several medals. Aberdeen, you know, they're a juggernaut really at National Schools Regatta and the junior regattas, and here to have this 8 at Henley Royal and competitive. They're on the stern. I'd call it on the stern of Surbiton, who are one of the fastest crews in the country. So let's dig in now. What can we get through the middle of this race?
Yeah, Aberdeen Schools have produced some phenomenal talent over recent years. Miles Beeson, Robert Powell won championship pairs at National Schools. Miles' sister Zoe out at Yale University at the moment. Megan Hewison as well. Abigail Topp. One's out in America, one's at Leander. So they're able just to churn out athletes who do so well at national competitions in the UK. And as you said, a real powerhouse of Scottish rowing, going up against one of the top crews from England.
Do you think that kind of harsh Aberdeen weather makes it a bit harder?
Oh, I think so, but I'm biased in that sense.
Yeah, Yes, Fergus is Scottish, if you haven't guessed by his accent. So some tight racing here, just broken clear water. Surbiton as they pass back up Upper Thames, past Random Club. They're coming down to this last third of the race, and they have certainly not broken away. Surbiton, one of the most outstanding junior crews here. We're looking down their crew there, looking really good shots. Claudia Alexander, Bowes, Alexandra Bolton, Megan Burge, Megan Johnson, Emily Shaw, Charlotte Hubbard, Madeline Greenstock, Isadora Kennedy, Metro Form, Kate Theobald. They're back to us there, just a little glance around. How far away are they? What can I tell my crew? Are we comfortable, or can we really keep the pressure on here? Let's have a decision made.
Well, they've hit clear water, which in 8s racing is pretty much game over. They've had a really good first half of this race. They've been able to break clear of Aberdeen Schools Rowing Association, but it's not quite comfortable yet. I think comfortable, I'd say you're looking at least a length of clear water, and they haven't quite got that yet. And the cocks of Aberdeen Schools, you can still easily look down and see exactly where Surbiton is, and they should be feeding this information. Lily Arthur, we should be feeding this information to our crew, telling them, do you know what, we're still within touching distance. We can still go with about a few hundred metres left in this race. It's not over yet.
Yeah, it's funny, that feeling of comfortableness. So it depends on where you're sitting in the boat. These boats are very long, almost 20 metres long. If you're in the back of the boat, up in the stroke seat, you are a lot closer to the boat behind you than the person in front of the boat in the bow seat. So you will probably keep that rate up. You'll probably keep the pressure on, ensuring you really keep that distance between you and the crew behind you. But Surbiton High School, as they come towards the enclosures, a little bit more comfortable here than the middle of the race, and tight rowing there. Nice, sweet rowing by this junior women's A.
Yes, Surbiton High School, we mentioned finalists in 2021, semi-finalists last year, and they'll be looking to get themselves back, certainly to the Saturday, to the Sunday, and perhaps their hands on the Prince Philip Challenge Trophy once racing is done later on this week. But they've still got a job to do at the moment. They've still got to beat Aberdeen Schools Rowing Association, who certainly aren't fading in the dying stages.
What a fight here. You're against one of the top pitted crews in the event, and Aberdeen have not rolled over. This is very strong rowing from them.
Absolutely not. And as we've talked about the talent that's in the Surbiton High School crew, we've talked about the representation that Aberdeen Schools Rowing Association have domestically. They've been phenomenal. Their cox Lily Arthur, who we've sung the praises of, she coxed the J14, the J18, coxed 4, sorry, to success at Henley Women's Regatta in 2022. Actually came 4th in the Women's Championship 8s at National Schools Regatta earlier this year. So outstanding from Aberdeen Schools.
And as we cross the finish line, there's a bit of clear water there for Surbiton High School, who take the win in the Prince Philip Challenge Trophy of Aberdeen Schools Rowing Association.